WMAL.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 8:36 now on a Monday morning. 30 minutes from now, we hand it off to Chris Plant, who is raring to go. Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock.
Good morning.
Good morning, Julie. We spoke about this story last week on Friday. This involves Julie Perry. She is a history teacher in Fairfax County. She is the Republican nominee for State Senate in District 36. JulieForSenate.com is her website, JulieForSenate.com. And Luke Rosiak broke this story about how she is being unfairly targeted by her opponent, who also happens to be a school board member. Julie Perry, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So apparently there were complaints about you posting political messages on your social media, but then it turns out those complaints came from one of the top donors for your opponent, and then your opponent used her position. Well, how exactly did she use her position against you based on this reporting?
Oh, my gosh. Basically, first it started out with one of her donors filed a false CPS report against me. And then when CPS decided not to investigate, because I did not reveal any personal identifying information, another friend of hers by the name of Vanessa Hall emailed my principal and 4 assistant principals at my school to basically state that she didn't like my tweets, and they were homophobic and bigoted and all these other things. And it was just shocking to me, because what's so bad is the way my principal reacted to it. And
he didn't have your back, did he?
Not at all. He had their back.
Yeah, so
go ahead.
So you had your opponent making these allegations, then you had some activists in the community echoing those alleged things that you did, and then you had your principal not supporting you. How did you become aware that this was sort of a targeted and coordinated attack?
Oh my gosh. Well, first I find out I get a CPS call made against me when I meet with my principal. Then, of course, when CPS decided not to investigate, that wasn't good enough. They, wanted me to get in trouble. There's something that wasn't in the story that I think people need to be aware of. After I rebutted that summary memo where he talked about terminating me, there were some students of mine being called down to the office to see if I discussed being a Republican.
Wow.
And thank goodness one of my students had said something to me, because I called him out for that. And I literally said, I would like the witch hunt against me to end.
Well, this is Julie Perry. She is a history teacher in Fairfax County. She is running for the Virginia State Senate seat in District 36 as the Republican candidate. And listen, I'm delighted to hear that there's a Republican who is a teacher in Fairfax County, because it ain't easy for you. Tell me about this race and why it's so important that Republicans show up and vote for you. Because everyone thinks, oh, it's Fairfax County, can't happen. No, actually, the reason they're doing this to you, Julie Perry, is because they're terrified of you.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Because you know what? If they were not so scared of me and they knew they had this in the bag, they wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
And the other thing, too, is I break the mold. You see, with my opponent, she can't use her woman card with me, and she can't use her teacher card with me. And that drives her up the wall. Because you know what? The Democrats think they own the education field.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's more of us in this field. There's more Republican teachers than what people realize. They're just so afraid to say something.
They are. Well,
because the retaliation is bad.
You are an inspiration for speaking out, not just speaking out, but actually running for office, out in the public, out of the closet as a Republican and a teacher. So they called you homophobic. Let me guess. What is so homophobic about you, Julie? You dare to say that parents should have a say and be notified if children tell their teachers that they're thinking of changing gender or want to re-identify, that you actually want parents to have a part of the conversation?
100%.
There you go.
There you go.
You bigot.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
Well, we know.
But you know what?
Go on.
Yeah, parents have a right to be involved in their kids' education. Parents have a right to know what's going on in their kids' lives.
Yeah, and I think you also talked about how this gender ideology that is in school, hitting kids at middle school and early high school, can really confuse them. And this really doesn't have a place. I mean, you didn't say that directly, but essentially you were concerned about that, and that is perfectly fine. It's amazing to me that people, that sort of activist teachers, can put trans flags and pride flags and everything in their classroom, but when you offer a little bit of caution, you are attacked like this. It really shows you how determined some of these school officials are to get this in the classroom.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? Those kids need love and compassion in the worst way. But we also need to put student safety first, and we need to put parental rights, as the top scale.
Yeah.
Because you know what? And you know what? Most kids, they grow out of this.
Yeah.
It's usually just a phase, and with the right amount of help, kids grow out of this, grow out of being gender dysphoria.
Yeah.
They do. They
Julie
just
Perry.
need the right amount of help.
Julie Perry, she's one of the good teachers there. She is a history teacher at Fairfax County School System, and she is now running for state senate as your Republican nominee. JulieForSenate.com, and boy, they are coming after her.
Yeah.
So she needs your support, and the fact that they're coming after her, I want to reiterate, means that they are very worried about this seat. Let's go get it. Julie Perry, thank you for joining us. And,
Thanks for your courage.
Keep your head down,
One more thing,
keep fighting.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
This would have never happened without Hayden Fisher, who's also a Senate candidate running in the Richmond area. He's an attorney. If it were not for him helping me unmask this stuff, this story would have never come out.
All right.
So if you could support Hayden Fisher as well, that would be great.
You betcha.
And a thank you to Luke Rosiak.
And yeah, great stuff.
And Luke Rosiak. Oh, yes.
All right, Julie.
Thank you to both.
Thank
All right,
you
have
for
a good
that.
one.
You betcha. You too.
Bye-bye.